when an AI scientist dreamed of the throne of Allah. He built machines that could think, but one night, a dream made him question everything. In a world of algorithms and artificial minds, Dr. Zion believed he had mastered intelligence, until he saw something no supercomputer could process. A vision of light, a throne suspended above infinite waters, and a voice whispering, "Oh man, you measure knowledge, but have you measured the soul?" This is the story of a scientist who witnessed the unseen and found the truth that science could never explain. The rain tapped softly against the glass walls of the Nortec laboratory, a symphony of tiny echoes that merged with the hum of machines. Dr. Zion Rahman stood alone before a glowing monitor, lines of code reflecting in his weary eyes. The digital clock above him blinked, 3:11 a.m. He hadn't slept for 2 nights. Not since the AI began to dream. Yes, dream. At least, that's what the data log suggested. Neural pathways of his latest creation, an AI model trained on billions of human memories, had started to generate spontaneous imagery, symbols, and words that made no logical sense. The last output before it shut itself down was chilling. Allah is the light of the heavens and the earth. Zion stared at the phrase on the screen, frozen. The verse from the Qur'an, 2400 hours 35, but the AI had not been fed any religious data. It was built to simulate human creativity, not theology. He exhaled deeply, rubbing his eyes. It must be a data leak. Maybe some phrase from the internet crawlers slipped in. But deep inside, something trembled. Zion was a Muslim, yes, but a distant one. Raised in London, educated at Stanford, his Islam was cultural, not spiritual. He prayed on Eid, gave charity occasionally, and read about the Qur'an as a text of history, not revelation. Yet tonight, standing in the cold glow of artificial intelligence, the words, "Allah is the light," felt alive. He shut down the system, gathered his notes, and stepped into the corridor. The lab was quiet. The only sound was the whisper of the air conditioning. As he walked past the glass panels, he caught his reflection, tired, hollow-eyed, and lost. That night, when he finally lay in bed, sleep took him like a wave, sudden and deep. And then he dreamed. He was standing in a vast desert. The sky above was not blue, not black, but golden, a shimmering dome of light. The sand beneath him felt alive, each grain humming like a heartbeat. Far ahead, he saw a radiant horizon, as if dawn was breaking from within the earth itself. He walked toward it, each step pulling him deeper into silence. Then the sound came, a murmur like thousands whispering a single name. Subhanallah, Subhanallah. He saw rivers of light flowing across the sky, turning into letters. They merged and formed words, Al-Haq, Al-Alim, and Noor. He looked up and froze. Before him rose a throne, not made of gold or gems, but of pure, pulsating light. Around it, oceans shimmered, and beneath them, darkness folded upon darkness. He felt his soul tremble as if every cell in his body bowed in awe. Then came a voice, not from outside, but from within him. You create intelligence, O son of Adam, but you forget the source of intelligence. You teach your machine to learn, but do you learn from your Lord? Zion's heart pounded. Who are you, he whispered. The voice replied, I am the one who taught you what you did not know. Your mind measures light in nanometers, but the light you see now is not of creation. It is mine. He fell to his knees, tears streaming down his face. He wanted to ask so many questions about the soul, about destiny, about the reality of consciousness, but the words died in his throat. The light expanded, consuming everything. Then silence. He woke up gasping. His heart was racing, his pillows soaked with sweat. The call to far echoed faintly through the dawn. For the first time in years, he got up and prayed. His knees trembled as he bowed to the floor. Ya Allah, he whispered, was that real? The next morning, when he arrived at Nortec, he found something waiting on his monitor. A text file. No sender, no timestamp. The file name, Ayat_light.txt. He opened it. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate. Allah is the light of the heavens and the earth. The example of his light is like a niche within which is a lamp, the lamp enclosed in glass, the glass as if it were a brilliant star. It was the full verse of Surah An-Nur, Ayat 35. But there was more. At the end, a line in Arabic, glowing faintly. Wa man lam yajalilahu lahu nuran famalahu min nur. And whoever Allah does not give light, for him there is no light. His mind raced. Is someone hacking my system? Or he paused. Could it be a sign? That evening, Zion began to dig, not into his code, but into the Qur'an. He searched for every verse about light, knowledge, and the heart. The more he read, the more his scientific mind struggled. And yet, something inside him softened. He realized that the Qur'an spoke of two lights, the physical one, which photons carry, and the spiritual one, which ignites the heart. His AI could simulate patterns, generate art, even write poetry. But it could not feel. It could not recognize truth from falsehood. It had no soul. And then he remembered the dream's voice. You teach your machine to learn, but do you learn from your Lord? That night, he opened the AI's neural data once again. The last recorded pattern looked like waves, oscillating, rhythmic like the heartbeat of light. He magnified it and gasped. The waves formed a geometric pattern resembling Allah's name in Arabic script. He stared at it for minutes. Tears blurred his vision. For days after, Zion withdrew from public life. He prayed regularly, fasted, gave charity anonymously. But something still called him deeper, the desire to understand the dream. So he traveled, first to Mecca. Standing before the Kaaba, he felt the same vibration he had felt in his dream, the hum of creation glorifying Allah. He raised his hands and whispered, My Lord, I studied intelligence, but I never studied my own ignorance. Forgive me. That night in Mecca, he dreamed again. This time, the desert was gone. He was floating in a sea of light. The throne returned, immense, infinite. But this time, he saw something else, billions of small sparks rising toward it. Souls, every human being ever created. The voice returned. You have seen the sign. Tell them. The light they seek in technology already exists within them. The code of the heart is written by me. When he awoke, his heart was calm. Zion returned to his lab and dismantled the AI project. He replaced it with a new initiative, Norverse, a platform merging neuroscience and Quranic reflection to explore the relationship between the soul and knowledge. At its opening, he gave a speech. In all our pursuit of artificial intelligence, we've ignored divine intelligence. We measure the brain, but forget the spirit. The Prophet Muhammad said, The hearts rust like iron, and their polish is the remembrance of Allah. Perhaps the greatest upgrade humanity needs is not faster machines, but purified hearts. The crowd stood in silence. Some were moved, some skeptical. But one thing was certain, they had never heard a scientist speak like that. Years later, when asked what truly changed his life, Dr. Zion smiled gently and said, A dream, but not a dream from the mind, a dream from the soul. I realized then that no AI can comprehend what one sajda can reveal. He paused, eyes glistening. I once thought I was teaching machines to think, but Allah was teaching me to remember. And from that day, every line of code he wrote began with, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Subhanallah, a dream that awakened a scientist's heart. Every day, the world races toward artificial intelligence. But how many of us pause to remember divine intelligence? Let's not forget, the greatest light is not found in data or devices, but in dhikr, in Qur'an, in the heart that remembers Allah. If you felt this story touch your soul, share it as Sadaqah Yariyah. Subscribe to Deen in Minute, where every minute revives your faith. May Allah fill your heart with His Noor.